After months of delays, Lori-Vallow Daybell was back in court today for opening statements in her murder trial. She's the Rexburg mom charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and grand theft in the deaths of two of her kids, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and her husband's late wife, Tammy Daybell. We have team coverage of what happened in court today. Shira Matsuzawa and Morgan Romero have been at the courthouse all last week and today covering the proceedings. They are live there at the Ada County Courthouse right now. We begin with Shira for a look at today's opening statements. Shira?
You know, Doug, this has really been a long time coming, and for the families of the victims, this is just the first step to the closure that they've been waiting for. But as you mentioned, opening statements did get underway earlier today, and we want to warn you that some of it was graphic. Now, the prosecution started today, and they addressed the jury made up of 10 men and 8 women, opening with money, power, and sex. That is what this case is about. They say Lori-Vallow Daybell used those things to get what she wanted, and it didn't matter what obstacle she had to remove. During today's opening statements, the prosecution also revealed JJ was found in a shallow grave wrapped in garbage bags with duct tape wrapped around him, while Tylee's remains were charred. The state said you'll hear it described as bone and tissue. That's what's left of Tylee. The state also said Tammy died at the hands of another, asphyxiation. In their opening statements, the prosecution also said Vallow used self-proclaimed religion and teachings to justify her actions from an affair to murder. The defense then gave their opening statement saying when there is a lack of evidence, the law calls it not guilty. He also reminded the jury that they vowed to remain impartial and not judge, and that they have to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. As for the setup for the overflow room, we could see 4 panels on a projector screen. One camera was pointed on the judge and the testifying witnesses, the other focused on Vallow and her attorneys, while the third camera was on the prosecution with those who are in attendance behind them, and the fourth camera was on a projector screen which showed photos of the evidence they were referring to. Tylee's aunt, Annie Cushing, along with JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, were inside the courtroom. Larry spoke with the media this afternoon.
It was all about where are the kids, where are the kids, where are the kids? And now it's about justice, and that's all I'm going to pray for, continue to pray for, is that the court continues in the directions that they're going, and that this proceeds as it should proceed. We want a fair and honest verdict, whichever way it goes.
What was it like to see Lori in court today?
It was stressful. It was. It's what we expected.
And coming up at 4:30, we'll hear more from Larry about making eye contact with Vallow and what he said when he asked if he would be here for the duration of the trial. But after opening statements wrapped up, the prosecution called on their first witness, and we'll send it over to Morgan Romero with a look at that.
Yeah, share a powerful interview Larry Woodcock did with the media after the prosecution and the defense gave their opening statements, as is standard in trials. We heard from witnesses and we saw evidence for the first time in this case. The prosecution first called Kay Woodcock, the wife of the man you just heard from. She is J.J. Vallow's grandmother, and her son actually and his girlfriend had J.J., but they couldn't take care of him, so the Woodcocks then got custody of J.J. When the state was questioning her, Kay explained that her brother Charles Vallow and his wife Lori, the defendant in this case, asked the Woodcocks if they could adopt J.J. The Woodcocks agreed because the Vallows were very family-oriented, active in their church, and, quote, Lori seemed to be the kind of mom every mom wants to be. Kay said after the adoption went through in 2013, she and her husband were always able to see JJ, but things changed after Charles died in July 2019. Before his death, Kay said Charles took Lori off his life insurance policy as they were separated and made his sister Kay the beneficiary. After he died, she testified that Lori texted her about the policy from a number Kay didn't know. Kay said she got the money after Charles died, partly to help raise JJ because, quote, Lori didn't want him anymore. She said that multiple times throughout her testimony today. When being questioned by the defense, Kay said she knew Lori didn't want JJ because she never once tried to contact him while she and Charles were split up in early 2019. Kay said she became worried about JJ because they were having a hard time getting in touch with him and Lori. She also told police that she was worried about him after Charles died. In August of 19, about a month before JJ died, Kay says she FaceTimed him, but only for less than a minute, and it looked like someone was monitoring the call. Then in October, Kay said they hired a private investigator because they hadn't heard from JJ since early August and they didn't know where he was. Former Ada County Chief Deputy Prosecutor Gene Fisher, who has no connection to this case, says witness testimony is considered evidence and jurors can choose whether or not to believe what they say.
You know, people get caught up sometimes on, is it direct evidence or is it circumstantial evidence, right? And the jurors will be instructed on what the nature of those are, but they will learn that circumstantial evidence is as good as direct evidence. There's not like it's less reliable, but it's up to them as jurors to decide what weight they're going to give to any piece of testimony, whether it's from a witness or from the way in which something was tested.
The state also presented evidence during Kay's testimony, including JJ's birth certificates, his adoption certificate from when the Vallows adopted him, and a picture Kay took of JJ. Kay got really choked up at that point, describing him as her beautiful grandson. The state also called another witness as well, Brandon Boudreau. He is the ex-husband of Melanie Boudreau, Lori Vallow's niece. He said Melanie and Lori were really close, especially when it came to their more extreme religious views. We have that graphic to help you understand all the family dynamics here, a very complicated web of relationships in this family, the Vallow family, the Daybell family, the Coxes. I'll have more from Brandon Boudreau's testimony coming up in the 4:30 half hour. Doug?
So much going on in just the first day now of testimony in what could be an 8-week or longer trial. We'll get back to Morgan and Shira with our team coverage coming up at 4:30. And you can stay up to date on the very latest that happens in the courtroom. KTVB reporters will be at the courthouse every day. We'll also have live updates from Vallow Daybell's trial on our website throughout the next 2 months. For all of our coverage, you can scan the QR code on your screen or check out our website, ktvb.com, the KTVB app, or KTVB Plus.